Marhaba. Welcome to this second episode of the Black Healing Summer Session, a season-long journey into rest, release, and renewal. I'm Amma Robin, your humble host and seer storyteller at You Ain't Imagining This, a Black storytelling sanctuary. This summer, we're doing something a little different. We're slowing down. Over the next few weeks, you will hear stories, reflections, and comforting moments created to help you lay your burdens down bit by bit and remember your own humanity. Because healing isn't something you earn, it's something you deserve. Today's story focuses on something deeply personal, your own healing room. A space you can enter anytime, anywhere. A place that belongs to you and no one else. Here are 3 things to listen for in the story today. The moment when our protagonist realizes that she doesn't have to leave her life to claim her peace. Second, the way imagination becomes a doorway to freedom and belonging. And third, the joy of sharing the healing room with loved ones and feeling the energy multiply. I have only 2 humble requests for you. First, come as you are, and second, take what you need. If you're here today, this is what I know about you. I could be wrong, and please tell me if I am, but this is what I'm thinking. You know the importance of having your own space to breathe and to just be. You're also ready to imagine something gentler for yourself. And if someone shared this episode with you, I know they believe that you deserve peace and that they really care about you. If this story resonates, I invite you to subscribe, share it with someone who needs it, and make this your space, a place to come home to yourself. All right, let's start with the story. And remember to stick around after, because in this episode, we are going to have the immersive YAIT story. We're going to have a comforting moment to help you create your own healing room. And then we're going beyond the story. And that's where we're going to go deeper and we're going to get realer. And you ain't imagining this. The Healing Room, a YAIT story for Rejuvenation. I didn't always know that I was allowed to have a space like this. When I was younger, I thought healing and getting away was something that happened on a long vacation or after you had finally figured it all out. But as I got older, working, building, trying to stay human in spaces that didn't always feel safe, I learned that I needed something that I could reach for anytime, even if it was just in my own mind. I'm a writer. I'm an artist. Some days, that feels like the best gift I've ever been given. The chance to create something that didn't exist before, to tell the truth in my own voice. This morning started off like so many others. Waking up before the sun, my favorite time of the day. Checking emails before I even got out of bed, not so favorite. But then there were other good things. My husband was brewing my favorite coffee in the kitchen. He was playing the old playlist that he had made for me, and when I walked in, he kissed my cheek and said, "Don't forget to have a life outside that inbox." And I smiled because I knew he was right. Still, by the late morning, the weight has started building up. The quiet expectation to be everything to everybody. Super competent, or perfect actually. Super patient, and super unbothered. That may sound weird, but it's accurate. I moved through it with that familiar ache, like I was wearing something too tight but didn't know how to take it off. After a long call that felt like a performance review of my humanity, I closed my laptop and put my hand on my chest. I need to go to the room, I thought. And just like that, I took a deep breath and closed my eyes. It doesn't matter where I am, at my desk, in my car, on the couch, even in the bathroom. The room is always there, waiting for me. When I step inside, it feels familiar. The walls are warm, painted the deep brown of fresh earth. There's a shelf lined with my favorite books, some by Black women who taught me how to breathe, some who taught me how to endure, and some who taught me how to laugh. On the low table by the window, there's a stack of old journals. I don't always open them, but it calms me to know they're there. A record of everything I've survived and everything I've celebrated. There's a quilt that belonged to my grandmother, and it lies across the back of a wide chair. I pull it into my lap, the fabric soft from all the hands that held it before mine. There's a small altar in the corner, a white candle, a photo of my mother smiling, a little bowl of water with rose petals floating on top. I sit and feel the tension start to loosen, like my body remembers that I don't have to earn belonging here. This place is mine. Sometimes I see my husband sitting in his own healing room. His eyes are closed, his shoulders are relaxed, and his breath is deep and steady. He says that his space smells like cedar wood and always has music playing, old records his grandfather loved. Sometimes I see him drumming softly on his knees. And once a month, we open the door and invite our friends to come to our healing room. We call it our gathering night. I remember this name from the Parable of the Talents book by Octavia Butler. First, we all enter our own healing room. We do whatever feels right to us and speaks to our soul. I imagine myself reading in my space. Others, I see my husband drumming. I see others smiling. Sometimes I see people crying. And then we exit our healing space and we come into our gathering space. And in this space, we laugh until our faces hurt. We talk about nothing and everything. We eat good food and play old songs that remind us of who we are. And we remember that none of us are here by accident. But for today, it's just me. I close my eyes and let myself feel all of it. The exhaustion, the pride, the anger, the love, the bright little moments of joy that keep me going. I think about how this room isn't some magical escape. It doesn't erase the world outside, but it gives me something real to come back to, a place where I'm not performing or shrinking, a place where I'm allowed to be glad just to be alive. I pick up a pen and write a few lines in my journal. I am here. I am still me. I don't have to prove anything. I don't have to hide my joy. I sit with that until my breathing evens out. Before I leave, I walk to the window. The sky is just starting to turn pink. I watch it change without feeling like I should be doing anything else. When I open my eyes, I'm still in my office. The emails are still waiting. The day hasn't transformed itself into some utopia, but it is something a little bit easier. And that's enough. I'm ready to continue my day. Aloha community, peace community. This is Amma Robin. I'm back. Actually, I've always been here. And I hope that you enjoyed that story. And I hope that you felt it. That's really my point with these stories, that we don't just listen to them. We listen to them, we also immerse ourselves in it. What we're going to do now is another immersion kind of activity. We're moving on to our comforting moment. This is a guided visualization. It's going to last approximately 3 to 4 minutes, and you're going to have a single minute where you're going to spend the time with yourself, and I'm just going to be quiet, but I'll let you know when that's going to happen. So let's take a moment to prepare for our comforting moment, for this guided visualization. Let's take a slow, deep breath in and let it out gently. If you can, and if you're comfortable, please close your eyes, or you can soften your gaze. I'd like you to imagine a room. It doesn't have to look like the room I just described. Just imagine a room. It can be anywhere. A space you visited, a place that you've dreamed of, or somewhere you create right now. It's just for you. That's right. This room is yours. No one else's expectations live here. No one else's opinions matter here. This is your sanctuary. In your mind's eye, look around the room. What color are the walls? What are on the shelves? What do you see on the shelves? Do you smell anything in the air? Maybe there's a chair that feels like it was made just for your body. Maybe there's music playing, an old record or a favorite song, or just a beautiful sound that you like. Maybe there's an altar with photos of the people who loved you first and the people that you love now. Take a few more breaths and let yourself arrive fully in this space. Notice how your body feels when you remember and you feel that you belong here. If you'd like, you can bring someone with you. You can allow someone in. It's your choice. An ancestor, a friend, or even the younger version of yourself who needed this kind of space. Feel them sitting beside you, quiet and steady. You can even imagine yourself holding their hand if you like, giving them a hug, or maybe they're just sitting in the space with you. Now for the next 60 seconds, you don't have to do anything. You're fully immersed in this room. You can just rest you can just be. I'm going to stop talking for 60 seconds, but I'm going to be right here with you. Just allow yourself to enjoy this space for 60 seconds. And when you're ready, I'll be right back and take one more slow inhale and exhale with you. Let's begin. Okay. Now, when you're ready, let's take one slow, deep inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Please open your eyes. And remember, this room is always here, anytime you need it. No matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, anytime, anywhere, this healing room is here for you. And you don't need permission to come back. It's yours. You belong. Thanks for joining me in the healing space. So now we're entering the last part of this episode. And this is where we have our story reflection. So, are y'all ready to go beyond the story now? I hope so, because I really am. And I hope you let yourself step into your healing room, even just for a moment. And if you didn't, that's okay too. Sometimes it takes time to trust that you deserve a space that asks nothing from you and that it's all yours. The healing room is imaginary, and it's powerful, and it's uplifting, and it's soothing. And most importantly, it's yours. It's where you can feel that you belong and you're welcome. For me, creating an imaginary healing room wasn't about escaping from life. It was about making space to feel all of it. The exhaustion, absolutely, but also the happiness and the pride and the small moments of sweetness that I'm always too busy to notice. That happened to you too? That sometimes these great, wonderful things happen quietly, but we're busying around and we miss them. But healing isn't only about rest. It's also about joy. It's about laughter with people who see you. It's about feeling strong again after you've been worn thin. It's about the quiet certainty that you belong to yourself before you belong to any title, any role, or any expectation. Ooh, let's breathe with that for a minute. I've told you in the past about my dopamine breaks. Dopamine is a hormone, it's kind of the feel-good hormone. And it's something that I've actually become to rely on and to need throughout my day. My dopamine breaks are necessary for my mental, physical, and spiritual health. People ask me what I do. And honestly, it's simpler than anyone imagines. I often get a, "That's it" look. And the answer is, yeah, that's it. And it makes a difference. Let me tell you, sometimes I work on a puzzle or I practice Tai Chi. And I'm not talking about like 1,000-piece, all one color puzzle. I'm like, the 300 to 500-piece extra large pieces puzzle. Because I take the reward in each piece that I hold and that I find and connect. Sometimes I read. I love to read. Sometimes I drum. Sometimes I take a walk in the forest. Sometimes I walk outside barefoot just to feel the earth on my feet. Oh, just the thought of that just feels so good. And these breaks take 5 or 10 minutes, but they change everything. Sometimes, and this is a secret I'm sharing with you, I will just do a bit of humming. I'll just spend some time, sitting outside and and that just resonates so nicely. You don't have to know how to sing, because I don't, but I just hum to myself. And the feeling resonates throughout my body and soul. So people often, then other people ask me after the dopamine breaks, they ask me, how did I even think of having a healing room? People think of spas and that kind of stuff, but a healing room, and one that's really in your imagination. I'll tell you, because I needed a space for me. But it couldn't be something that I had to fly to an island to experience. And I can't always go on vacation, or sometimes I can't even take my walks. Sometimes I'm too busy for that, or the weather isn't cooperating. And I needed a space that I could access anytime. I've been meditating for years, for a long time. And I was even teaching meditation for a while too. In fact, I started all of this out by teaching meditation to lawyers. Honestly, I didn't think anyone would be interested, but so many showed up. And I think that just shows how much lawyers and professionals and people that we need meditation. And recognizing that the healing room was accessible anywhere and anytime through meditation, through like this guided visualization we just did, all at once and any time, was a big, huge epiphany for me. And that is how the healing space was born. Because people say, hey, why don't you take off a weekend and go away? Sometimes I do that, and that's great. But sometimes that sounds even more exhausting than what I'm experiencing now. Now, still going beyond the story, I'm also going to go a little bit on a tangent, but I hope you'll indulge me, because you'll see how it all connects. So y'all know that I have ADHD that I realized much, much later in life. So this has been a real transition for me. And I realized I've always had this very strong imagination. And that imagination allows me to go anywhere mentally, anytime that I need to. When I was a child, I would often go anywhere I wanted to anytime, what people called daydreaming. And I got in a lot of trouble for that. But that's how I cared for and soothed myself. Daydreaming is underrated. And even worse, it's often punished in children or even medicated out of them. And adults who daydream are considered weird and childish. Both of those are so wrong. This healing room was born from daydreaming and imagination. But it took me longer to realize that it didn't need to be actually a solo endeavor. No, it didn't. I'm an introvert, so naturally for me it was. But I also realized that it didn't have to be. My husband actually joins me sometimes in the healing room, in the healing space, just as in the story. My friends join me. My son joins me. Even my dog and cat, though not at the same time, obviously, have sat with me when I go into my healing room at home. And all of them make the energy and the feeling stronger and uplifting. And it's that way for not just for me, but for everybody. That's just the truth of it. Daydreaming, I want to go back to that, is a necessary kind of a dopamine fix, a dopamine break. But it's so sad that daydreaming isn't valued for the use of the imagination and for the self-soothing, kind of activity that it is. I also want to say too, I deliberately did not want this episode to focus on pain or to feel heavy. This space is for Black people who are experiencing and navigating the chaos of living Black in predominantly white spaces. So yeah, some of these topics that I talk about do get very heavy. Sometimes the stories are very heavy. But if they get too heavy and too difficult, I do give you a warning beforehand. But I don't always want to go there because that's not the whole experience. Black life is not always about burden or heaviness or pain. We can enter the healing room even when life feels good. And life often does feel good because, healing it's not a destination. It's not a place you want to go to. It's something that we can carry within ourselves, and it's a journey that we can experience and feel and immerse ourselves in anytime. You ain't imagining the heaviness you carry, and you ain't imagining the beauty that lives in you or the joy, all waiting to be reclaimed. And the healing room is your space, your personal space to experience all of it. I think it's time to wind this down. I have so enjoyed this time with you, and I hope that you've enjoyed being here too. But our time today is coming to a close. If you can, give yourself a few minutes today to imagine your own healing room. Make a list of what you'd put there, what reminds you of who you are when you're not performing. Make a list and think about who you would welcome in to your healing room. It's not required, and not at all, and not every time. You decide. If you can, and if this episode speaks to you, please take a moment to follow, and share it with someone that you care about. Invite them into the sanctuary with you. And if you feel called, I would love to hear about your healing room or your own dopamine breaks. You can connect with me directly or send me a message on Instagram, a direct message on Instagram, and stay tuned. Soon we're going to be practicing these dopamine, I call them D breaks, together in real time on Instagram. I'm Amma Robin for You Ain't Imagining This, and I can't wait to be with you for the next episode in this healing session, because none of us should have to heal alone, and you ain't imagining this. Ashe, fam.